It's been a while since I've done a video like this, and I apologize to the guys who primarily subscribe to my channel for purposes like this on telling you how you can hop to the other side of the fence and be successful at it. And by hopping on the other side of the fence, I mean just not dealing with the community. Because let's be honest, in 2020, the pro acts, the swirlers, well, swirlers on the female side, let's just be honest, the hair hats, the scraggle daggles, the alt writers, pro acts, I think I said them already, but all of them consider you just not dealing with the typical ADOS daggle is considered hopping the fence, whether it's a chick who is from Wakanda or from South America who happens to look like you, or a chick from the Caribbean. So we can even get rid of that aspect of dating outside the race as what I'm talking about and referring to as the only way you can hop to the other side of the fence. Look, there are entities out here who do not want you to have peace in your life. There are entities that do not want you to have any sort of femininity in your life. And there are entities out there who basically get off, and I dare say in some cases with a boner, uh, with you and me and people who look like us not having any options. Well, this channel, among other channels, are here to trigger them. And so, trigger warning to all of you out there. But in all real talk, let's cut to the chase. Be the best you can be before you swirl. There you go. Be the best you before you can swirl. Because, let's be honest, the odds, particularly in this country, are against us as is, particularly when men decide to go to the other side of the tracks, when men decide to go to the other side of the fence, when men decide to not deal with the usual path that is set out for us. One, if you're male. Two, if you're, and three, if you have a triple-digit IQ and don't follow the stereotypes. So we all know what the community has as the blueprint for thinking men, especially thinking certain men. But this can be applied to everyone of any race, so I'm not trying to make this a racially inclusive channel. But nonetheless, we need to speak on how a lot of society, a lot of American society, wants to basically pigeonhole particular men who don't fit into the what I like to call the stereotypical Negro, which is the Negro box or the whatever you can, any names for it. But if you don't fit into the stereotypical box, they usually peg you first of all. Well, peg them. That's my last video. Apparently, I didn't get monetized in that video, so maybe I shouldn't use the P word. Okay, YouTube. All right, YouTube, Disney Channel, whatever. You know what? A lot of people from the community and outside of it, if you are not a stereotype, they basically want you to, one, remain an incel for like the first 15 to 25 years, only to get any sort of adoration and admiration from those of the opposite gender, not when they're young and tight, but when they're used up, have a couple of kids, etc. We all know the deal. And they expect you to be either the cleanup man or, better yet, the stepdaddy, even though that went past the 90s, or at the very least, even if you don't get chosen, even if you don't get blessed with the graces of the daggle, they expect you to be quiet about it. And to that, well, to be honest, you're sort of better off being quiet about it, because if you aren't quiet about it, we've seen what happens in channels like these, and trust me, the Daggle Force and the community and the alt-writers will have you on a list at the very least. Because that's what's happening. A lot of people are getting pissed off because of what I said. Well, not because of what I said, but what I detailed in my other video, which was about a year ago, about how you are no one's bailout plan. The community needs bailout plans. So how do you counter that? How do you counter from, or how do you prevent yourself from being the bailout plan? Well, it's simple. Be the best you can be before you swirl. And by that, I've stated this in multiple videos. Multiple people have stated this in multiple videos. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. First of all, watch my How to Join the Elite videos if you want details. Second, I implore you to watch videos of other individuals who tell you to be on purpose, work to be high value, or at the very least, watch videos of individuals who screwed up. People who've had scent tails, people who had awkward stories, etc., and just learn from them, because not everyone has to repeat every single thing that their, not forefathers, but people who came before them did. History is to be learned. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. It's as simple as that. And we're, unfortunately, are now seeing an era where a lot of millennials, or whatever they were, Gen Zers, don't even try to mix up with Gen Z with millennials, because millennials, for the most part, I'm sorry, you've all dropped the ball. We've dropped the ball. Well, you all dropped the ball. But with that being said, if you want to be the best you can be before you swirl, well, it's simple. First of all, work on your body game. Second, work on your mind game. Third, well, not even in any particular order, but work on your body, work on your mind, work on your, obviously the body game. You see here that, I mean, it's all right, but it's no freaking Steph Clank skills or freaking, I don't know, name any other workout channel that there is out there. But yeah, work on your body game, eat healthy, eat a good diet that will get you to, at the very least, 15% body fat, if not 10. I mean, you don't got to do 5 unless you're paid to do it, unless you're a professional, all right? Let's just calm that out right there. Second, your mind. Your mind has to be right. And by that, you know what? You really have to, how should I say this? In some cases, you may have to deprogram yourself. And that's okay. Sometimes that might just require watching a bunch of videos, whether it's not hardcore red pill content, not hardcore manosphere content, but just things that help you improve with your life. Or in some cases, you may have to actually have external help, such as a therapist or a psychiatrist. And there's nothing wrong with getting a therapist, especially in this day and age. A lot of people are struggling, and it's okay if you're not okay. And I know that is as, let's just say, happy, because it's okay if you're not okay. That may sound cheesy and lame, or because I can't say the G word like it's the 1990s, because apparently it's probably one of the reasons why my other video got demonetized. But yeah, and real talk, there's nothing wrong if you're not truly at peace with yourself. It's probably because you didn't come from a peaceful environment like most of us did. And as far as getting your mental right, meditation does wonders. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm the biggest practitioner of it. I probably might do it once a month at best. But as far as that's concerned, there's nothing wrong with taking some time out of the day to meditate and to just clear your mind and to really reflect on what's going on and what you need to do. So, the other thing that you really need to get right and really need to prepare and you really need to do in order to be the best you can be before you can swirl is get your finances right. You all know as much as I about how a lot of the critics will go after those who jump the fence, date outside the community, and how a lot of those guys are still broke. They're still broke. And let's go back to the other parts. They're still broke. Well, not a lot of them are fat, let's be honest. But they're still broke. They're still hood, or they have that, I hate to say this, that baby kid mentality in them. And you wonder why you prove a lot of the skeptics and critics and haters right. It's because a lot of people who tend to just hop the fence without preparing for what the life is like on the other side, they really do themselves a disservice. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for prematurely trying to make that decision. But in mainstream American society, there are certain things that just aren't going to fly like it does in the community. See, if you're watching this video right now, and if you live in a community environment, then chances are you were programmed and you are programmed, due to no fault of your own, but you are currently programmed to act like a baby kid within the former rotten corpse of the so-called community. Shout out to Dr. Jones, but that's fine. We all have had that programming to a certain extent, but we have to debug ourselves from that programming. Just like Kevin Samuels says, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And the responsibility that you have as, I would say, someone between the ages of 15 and 30 is to deprogram yourself of everything you've known about basically yourself, honestly, and I hate to say it. A lot of what you've been told that you are and how you should act, how you should speak, with all the ebonics and nah, I mean, and I'm gonna do this, and the thug admiration, trying to implement a little of that hood swag, all that crap, and to spend money frivolously on stupid crap like Jordans and swag backs and even video games to an extent. You need to deprogram yourself from that. You need to deprogram yourself from that if you're going to be successful outside of the community, on the other side of the fence. Now, the other thing you need to do in order to deprogram yourself, or I was like, there's the physical aspect, there's the mental aspect, and the financial aspect. There's a social aspect of it as well. And by social, meaning you have to learn how to socialize with people outside of the community. There are certain ways on how people communicate, which are actually universal between other races, and I'm including Africans and other races, Africans, Caribbeans, etc. People who are of African descent but come from somewhat functional environments. But you don't see that in the ADOS environment. In the ADOS environment, a lot of it consists of jaw-jacking, gossiping, backbiting, play-hating, freaking, what else, dirty macking, just hating, just all sorts of negativity and hate. And I'm not talking about you rib your boys and then just give a little joke and it's like, you rub a rig, you deadbeat, let's go for drinks. I'm not talking about that. That's universal. But the backbiting, the beefing one day and get along the next, the stuff you see in certain parts of the manosphere, let's just say that, and with certain babies kids. They're beefing one day and then next, like 5 minutes later, they're chilling. And I'm like, no, that's dysfunctional. That's bullcrap. Any other society and community, you would at the very least get excommunicated from the group. At the very least, or at the very best. But as far as socializing goes, you need to learn how to get the social cues down. You need to learn what sarcasm is. And that is something that a lot of people, especially in communities, surprisingly don't know. You need to know the unspoken language of how people react and when someone's saying something what they really mean. I'm not saying to assume or implement anything, or not implement, assume anything, but you definitely got to know what time it is. And that is only done by broadening your horizons, broadening the people you hang out with, to people who are outside of the community, and I dare say outside of your race. And on the other note of the social aspect, and here's a sub part to that social part that you need to change, and how you can be the best, is to get rid of any distrust of any people that you've been told not to trust. I know it's hard out there to trust people these days, even within the community, which, by the way, I mean, that should just tell you that, I mean, you can't really trust anyone, but I mean, that's a better way to go at it than trusting one group and not the other. But as far as not trusting people of other races because of what your mama told you, and or what the people within the community told you, the same community who gave you crap for so long to the point that you came to the channel and subbed to a channel like this, would you really trust them to tell you who your enemies are and who your friends are? Really? Or would you rather find out on your own on who likes you, who doesn't, who considers you, or who will always consider you nothing but a ninja, or those who will see past race and, I dare say, allow you to transcend beyond race, which does happen. And it does happen with all sorts of people outside the race. And that's if you get out there, especially if you're fortunate enough to go to a mixed school in a place that doesn't have a lot of racial tension. And this is the reason why I emphasize that if you didn't have the blessing, if your mother and father didn't love you enough to have you raised in a mixed, truly integrated society and neighborhood, that you place yourself in a place like that. But only after you get rid of that mindset that everybody hates you. Everyone's gonna see you as nothing but this, nothing but that. They're gonna hate you because of the color of your skin. And they're gonna hate you because of this. Everyone be hating. They hating on me. They hate. Man, I couldn't go out there, man. Man, look, I go outside the community, but you know what? You know what? Ain't gonna matter though. Ain't gonna matter because they ain't gonna see me nothing but a ninja. Nothing but a ninja. Man, nothing but a ninja. You heard? So I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit here and act like best ninja for all ninjas. Me, I can be all I can be in the ninja army, and I'm play the banjo and impress these daggles by being the biggest ninja of all ninjas until daggles try to set me up for child support. But look, no. That's what a lot of people in the community are setting you up for. When they tell you you're going to be nothing but a ninja, the world sees you as one big ninja. No, they aren't just saying that to help you. And they aren't just saying that for ships and giggles. They're saying that as a way of saying that you're nothing but a ninja. So you better be a good little boy and stay in the community and hold your own nuts because everybody else is either holding their own nuts or wanting to chop yours off. So you better be a good little ninja. You better serve this community and serve this Daggle and serve her baby's kids and serve Nook and Day Day, Man and Little Twin who's on the couch and eating your Lunchables and drinking your juicy juice and playing your Xbox and PlayStation that you should have had, but you have to pay those taxes because you actually had a job that you had to pay in taxes versus get back. So you better be nothing but a ninja because the rest of the world ain't gonna like you. So you might as well just stay here and be familiar with the double who you're familiar with versus the double that you aren't. Or you can go outside, take your chances, and realize that the world isn't that bad. But that's after you get rid of that mindset that the community has placed inside you. And everyone else out there, always bet on X.